In this section, we will discuss Geometry Manager in Tkinter. We are going to start with the overview of geometry, then we will see the implementation of geometry, and then we will talk about geometry managers and their types. In the end, we will discuss some popular options that are used in the Geometry Manager. Overview of geometry. Geometry in Tkinter is the size and position of the window on the screen. It is the method of TK object and is mainly applied on the TK object's instance. So in the below syntax, you can see that WS is the instance of TK object, geometry is the keyword, width is the horizontal space occupied by the window or the application, height is the vertical space occupied by the application, X is the amount of blank space left empty horizontally, whereas Y is the amount of blank space left vertically. Here is the implementation of geometry in Python Tkinter. First, we have to import the Tkinter module. Then we have to create an instance of TK object. So I have named the instance as WS. Then I have to create a main loop. Then using the instance name, we are creating the geometry. So ws.geometry, geometry is the keyword. And then 300 is the width, 200 is the height, 810 is the X position, and 340 is the Y position. Let's go ahead and implement this code on our VS Code editor. So this is the code. Let me go ahead and run this. Here you can see that the application has a width of 300 and a height of 200. So the X position of the application is 810 and Y position is 340. So let's go ahead and change some values. So if I am going to change the width of the application from 300 to 500, you can see that the width of the application has been increased. Now let's go ahead and change the height. So from 200, I am going to make it 300. So you can see that the application height has been increased. Now every time we are running this application, you can notice that this application is appearing at this place only. Now in case if you want it to appear at some other places, let's say over here or somewhere else, then you can do it using by changing the X and Y positions. So for example, the X position right now is 810. Let me go ahead and make it 510. So the application will appear somewhere over here. The application is now appearing over here. If I will make the changes on the Y position, then the application will be adjusted this way, like this. So X is for this and Y is for this. So let me give you a real-time example for the same. So if I will open a calculator on my laptop, it is appearing on a very specific place on this window. Every time if I will close it again and I will start once again, it is appearing at the same position. Whereas if I will open any other application, let's say Notepad, it has also some specific positions set. So every time I will open, if I will open it once again, it will appear at the same position. So that position can be controlled using these X and Y positions. After setting up the window, it's time to put widgets on it. Widgets can be positioned on the Tkinter window using Geometry Manager. You can arrange the widgets in relative or absolute positions. Relative is something which is not fixed. So for example, left. So left could be this side of the screen, this side of the screen, or this side of the screen. Left, right, top, bottom. So there can be multiple places for them. Whereas absolute is the exact position. So for example, this pixel on the screen. So this is the exact position. So both the things can be done using our Geometry Manager in Python Tkinter. There are three types of geometry managers: pack, grid, and place. In the next video, we will talk about pack geometry manager. But before I end this video, I would like to give you a brief information about the popular options. So these are PadX, PadY, PadX, iPadX, iPadY. So PadX adds a space outside the widget horizontally, whereas PadY adds space outside the widget vertically. iPadX adds the space within the widget horizontally, and iPadY adds space within the widgets vertically. So let's go ahead and see this implementation. So here I have created one application. Here this is the label. I will tell you, we will talk more about the label in future sections. So Let me go ahead and run this program. So here you can see that this is a label. Label actually displays any message. So any text if you want to display, you have to use label. We have provided this label over here, and then you can see there is a space, internal space added. So this internal space has been added using the iPad X, and this is added using iPad Y. Whereas you can also see some space outside it, like it is not attached to the screen completely to the screen. That is because of the pad X and pad Y. So let's go ahead and make some changes in the code so that we can see the difference. So if I will change the value for iPad X to let's say 100. Now let's go ahead and run it. Here you can see that the space has been decreased, but the Y space is still constant. So let me make little more changes so that you can see the difference. So let's make it 50. Now you can see that the Y space is still there, but the iPad X has been decreased. So this space has been decreased. Same thing can be done using the iPad Y as well. If I will set it to 0, there won't be any space. There won't be any internal space. So there is no internal space in the Y direction, but there is a space in X directions. So let's go ahead and make it something so that we can see it. Now coming to the pad Y. So pad Y is basically adding a space outside the widget. So this part, pad Y is for this and pad X is for this. Now let me go ahead and make changes over here. If I'll make it pad Y to 10, then you can observe that the space has been reduced. So in this way you can use this iPad X, iPad Y, pad X on the different widgets using any geometry manager. Mostly it is used with the grid and pack. So in the next video we will talk about place geometry manager.